I've been volunteering for homeless people for the last 3 or 4 years, and during that time I've seen some significant changes. The government cutbacks and the government becoming a lot tougher in terms of benefits has really affected a lot of people. I've been working with food banks, and they've seen a huge increase in custom, and that's often because somebody will have missed an appointment and therefore had their benefits cut for a couple of weeks, or they've had some kind of accident or the problem with the kids. They need to buy new shoes and they just can't afford it, and suddenly something as relatively small scale as buying a new pair of shoes just kicks them into the situation where they need food from a food bank. So there's been a big change, a lot more people needing those kinds of emergency services. There's also been a lot less funding, and this is going to get really bad in the next year, for places like O'Hanlon House. Government funding for homeless services generally has been cut radically, and I understand that in Oxford that means that basically one of the 3 hostels here is in danger of losing its funding. Now, the thing is, that might be a short-term financial benefit in terms of not having the cost of that hostel, but the cost socially of both to the people who are living in the hostel and to society, who are then going to have those people living rough, and perhaps not getting the support that they're getting at the moment for their drug habits or getting them into jobs. I only see that as a long-term cost to society, not to balance out the short-term benefit. In O'Hanlon House, what we've seen is that there's a lot more pressure on the rooms, so every room in O'Hanlon House is always full. The way they've dealt with that for this winter, so the winter of 2014-15, is to open up the wet room to rough sleepers as well. The wet room is a place where people can drink, and what they do is at some point in the evening they make it available for people to roll out their sleeping bags so they can accommodate another 10 people in the hostel within the wet room. And volunteers are going to be increasingly taking over from paid staff. So at the moment, for instance, the verification in the morning where we find rough sleepers, more and more that's being taken over by volunteers. The activities within O'Hanlon House that used to be run by professionals now have to be picked up by volunteers because there's less funding for the professionals.
If you'd like to get involved in the On Your Doorstep homelessness campaign, visit oydoxford.com, find us on Facebook or Twitter, or come along to our weekly term time meetings.